I'm Coach Debbie. I'm a certified cognitive coach, a global technology leader at a Fortune 100 company. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an author. I coach people how to lead limitless and thriving lives. I show young professionals how to grow and develop themselves to be successful, transitioning from student life to the corporate world. I teach leaders how to lead with emotional intelligence. I show people how to harness their strengths to win. I wouldn't have time to do all of this if all I did was sit in meetings all day long. When I first became a leader, I think I had some weeks where I would be in meetings 35 to 40 hours. And then I still had to get my other work done. Just preparing for the meetings, there was hardly any time at all because meetings would run overtime. I'd have to show up late to the next meeting. It was the same thing every single day. Things would get moved around on my calendar regularly, making it really hard to plan ahead. And when I would plan ahead, something would get shifted, and it was incredibly frustrating. I remember one time I had somebody put a meeting on my calendar and they showed up 45 minutes late. And I wasn't able to stay for the overtime because I had a commitment to go pick up my kids after school. And the thing was, I made my calendar completely public so they could see exactly where I was, when I was going to be in the office, when I was going to be out of office, what my time constraints were. That was all public information. And whether they didn't notice it or see it, I don't know, but they were incredibly upset when I excused myself and had to leave the meeting to go take care of other commitments. I've attended meetings, not always as the best engaged attendee. I've spent time cleaning out I remember one time I spent some time cleaning out my briefcase, and then I organized my office, and I've even painted my nails because there was really no point for me to be in the meeting. For some reason, we think we have to accept every single meeting that comes into our inbox. Maybe we don't. I don't know if it's guilt, if it's expectations, if it just takes time to evaluate the meeting, or we don't know how to decide whether or not we should attend that meeting. Maybe we're trying to read our emails while we're in a meeting. So the best thing that you could do for yourself is to fiercely defend your time and think about how you can take charge of your calendar to have fewer meetings so that you have greater impact. I have made lots of mistakes going to meetings as an attendee, not being engaged, not preparing fully for meetings that I've hosted, not showing my attendees what they can expect. One of my frustrations was people would come to my meetings and they wouldn't speak up, they wouldn't engage. The only person talking would be me. What I found when I flipped that around and really carved out time to invest in setting up an agenda, communicating with attendees ahead of time, showing them what they could expect, clarifying what they needed to bring to the meeting, spending the time to tell them what the purpose was, what we were supposed to do in the meeting, and what they needed to bring to the meeting, started getting a lot of engagement. People would show up to the meetings prepared, we'd have great discussion, and at the end of the meeting, they'd say, "Wow, that was a great meeting." That's an amazing feeling. How many times have you said, "Wow, that was a really great meeting"? Very seldom. So once I started to get that reaction, I realized that this was time well spent because they appreciated that I wasn't wasting their time and the meeting was useful. We didn't come together to just go over a slideshow presentation or a list of things. It wasn't informational. It was something where we needed to solve a problem, have a conversation, or learn something together. All of these mistakes that I have made in my career, I've learned from, and I have compiled a helpful playbook on how to have fewer meetings with greater impact. There are tips contained in this workbook for hosts and attendees on things you must do before you accept a meeting. What are the criteria that you need to look for in that meeting notice before you say, "Yes, I will show up"? Then once you decide to show up, what are the things you need to be doing to prepare for that meeting? How do you show up engaged to drive the meeting forward to the desired outcome? Then as a host, there are things that you need to be looking at, meeting musts that you want to make sure that you're doing so that you can have engaged attendees and not waste everyone's time. But then what do you do when somebody wastes your time or double books? There are also tips in here on how to defend your time diplomatically from people who might not follow the same meeting etiquette that you do. Also, there are some meetings that you may need on your calendar that you don't have, and these are meetings with yourself. I go through a list of those types of meetings that you want to make sure that you put on your calendar so that you can fiercely defend your time and have greater impact. So go to the link in the description of this video, which will take you to my website where you can download your copy of this playbook. I hope you find these tips useful and share them with your colleagues and friends so that you can take back your time and have greater impact in your meetings.